still dealing with what happened in the episode. I have no quick thoughts for this episode because craziness. So we're gonna jump right into Jorah and Tyrion.
Wait, I have a quick thought.
Ah! Are you ready to talk about it, Kenny, or you need a second?
Okay.
Jorah and Tyrion. My first question is to you, if Jorah touches Tyrion, would Jorah infect Tyrion or anyone else that he touches?
Probably. He can probably infect all those slaving dudes.
But I was
you, and you, and you, and you.
So they get caught, but Tyrion's wit saves Jorah and his private parts.
Yes, although during the episode, didn't you kind of point out that they could just kill Tyrion and keep his body?
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah. But the good news is, they're both still alive and going to...
Slaver's Bay. No matter who Tyrion runs into, they're taking him to meet Daenerys. Yeah. He's going there no matter what.
Yeah. Arya!
Whoa. That set is huge.
Yeah.
And part of it is probably real. The whole thing wasn't green screen.
It seems that Arya is moving along with her training.
Yes.
And now she's not ready to be no one, but she's ready to be someone else. But who?
Yeah, exactly. She's not ready to
be
someone other than Arya.
Our theory is that the faces that they keep changing to are actually the faces of someone that's died, of one of the actual faces that's in the walls.
Which means Jaqen H'ghar doesn't actually exist at all.
Yeah.
He's a dead guy on a wall.
Littlefinger is back in King's Landing. And there are two things I wanted to mention. Number one, he met Lancel. He's not the most virtuous man. So I would be careful if I was him. And then second, he met with Cersei. And so now we're not really sure what his thing is with Sansa. Does he really care for her?
Right.
Did he really just use her as a pawn to be named Warden of the North? Because I think that's what he ultimately wants.
Right.
I think that's pretty clear. But does he then want to marry Sansa if he becomes Warden of the North?
Well, I think his ultimate goal is world domination! But, you know, short-term Warden of the North, maybe.
He'll end up marrying Daenerys to get the dragons too. I mean, you know.
Oh, Dany. Those dragons, they look dangerous.
High Sparrow versus the Tyrells. The High Sparrow is taking on the Queen and her brother. And Tommen is just like...
Wow. The few fans that Tommen gained in the last couple episodes, I think have fled out the door now because that was a distinct lack of spine that our young king showed.
Yeah. Again, Joffrey would have been like, no, on principle alone, he doesn't really care about Marjorie being taken. He's just like, no, this is my property. You can't take it away.
You took a cockroach from me! Kill them! Kill them all!
Yeah. I liked High Sparrow when they first introduced him, but now I'm like, you're a little too extreme and violent for me.
Yeah, this the whole anti-gay stance, I think.
And then he manipulated his way to get Marjorie to, you know, say things that she shouldn't have said.
That was a little manipulative.
Yeah.
But I wonder how he got the information that Marjorie might be guilty of something as well. I think Cersei whispered in his ear.
Speaking of Cersei, that's gonna come and bite her in the, you know, behind.
Are you suggesting that she is not the most upright, virtuous?
As you mentioned, if he found out what she has done and that her son, the king, is kind of a product of that, he would probably put the king on trial. Or her on trial and then bring the king down or something like that. I don't know. The Sand Snakes versus Jaime and Bronn. Well...
That's a mighty big coinkydink. They all arrived at exactly the same time.
But I think the biggest thing was that we were kind of underwhelmed with the Sand Snakes. So underwhelmed. It was just kind of like, it sounds cooler than what it really is.
Right. The writing was not that great. Introducing them. I was hoping for a little more this time. I think if you have women Sand Snakes who are masked and fighting in weapons, you can probably afford to replace the actual actresses who aren't really that adept at those weapons with stunt people. Yeah. And you would have a much more exciting scene. In the books, they're all very distinct. Like in here, we saw the scene, they worked together rather well, so you could tell they were used to fighting together, But that's not how it is in the books. The only one of them that's even really much of a fighter is the oldest one, Obara.
Okay.
The others, they have their own way of doing things, but it's not fighting necessarily. They have other talents, shall we say. Bronn got cut, and I'm a little worried now.
Oh.
Because they have reputations for like poisoning things in Dorne. Why do that unless there is something attached to it? Or maybe I'm just reading into it and I'm just paranoid that they're going to get rid of Bronn because he's still alive.
Which is very possible because he killed a lot of people in Game of Thrones. And now we're on to what we've really been wanting to talk about this whole entire time. Sansa. So that happened, which apparently did not happen in a book, hence this reaction.
As you know, I do a Twitter post every week over at watchersonthewall.com. Your premier source for Game of Thrones information. I've already scrolled through it a little bit and saw some of the reactions to what happened to Sansa, which does not happen in the books. And there are going to be a ton of people that are going to be royally pissed at the writers for doing this to Sansa, who is a fan favorite in many fashions. However, I need to gently remind people that what George R.R. Martin did in the books to the girl who actually did marry Ramsay in the books was much, much worse than what just happened to Sansa. And they toyed with us there at that very last moment. They had the camera on Theon.
Theon, just kill him.
Come on,
just do it. Do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can. Oh, damn you, Reek.
I saw what they were doing too. They were using him as our eyes because he is us. He has watched Sansa, Sophie Turner, grew up from that tall to that tall, and so you're seeing something terrible happen to someone who you knew as a child. That's what he was seeing. He was seeing what we were seeing. So those tears, his tears were our tears. And they held the camera on him for probably 300 extra seconds just so that we might think, come on man, Theon, do something.
I like that they didn't really show us. Because
Oh,
it could have been horrible. Like, I was just like, oh, please don't show us. Like, we don't need to see it. But I think the sound just made it, because, you know, you hear the ripping and the bell, and you're just like, oh, God. And I think it's even worse in your mind. And you're just like, I'm just thinking, Littlefinger, did you really think this through? Again, this goes back to, does he really care about her or not? If he's just, you know, trying to use her as pawn just to get what he wants, then he's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care what happens to you. But if he really cares about her, then I don't think he really planned this right. If you're gonna marry Sansa off to Ramsay, it has to happen. I mean, what reason would there be not to happen? Then you'd go against, you know, the storyline. Then you're like, well, you're not being truthful in Game of Thrones.
That's what they did with season 1 with Ned Stark.
Yeah, exactly.
We expected, like all great, wonderful TV movie stories in front of us, that someone would swoop down at the last minute and save Ned, and it didn't happen. And that was the same feeling that we had watching this, was that Theon would break through Reek.
But I did want to mention that I thought it was interesting that Theon actually said his name and what house he's from.
Yes.
Which is why at the end I thought, well, maybe that's gonna be the, you know, the thing that just snaps him out.
They were dangling it.
They were just like, oh, he said his name is Theon. Oh, look, we're panning the camera towards him. Maybe this is gonna be it. Maybe he's gonna come. No. But you know, to be fair, they kind of cut while it was still happening. So maybe it will open next week with him killing Ramsay. I mean, there's still hope, right? We can still have it.
Somebody else.
Don't let us go. Those are all our thoughts for this episode. We want to know what you guys thought. Are you still breathing? Are you alive? Are you going to keep watching? What, you know, do you think Theon might, you know, come to the rescue?
Sandrine, if they're dead, they're not going to be typing in the comments section.
That's why I want them to let me know they're still alive.
Oh.
We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our other upcoming Game of Thrones videos.
They've already subscribed. Why would they not?
For those who haven't.
No. That guy didn't. I see you. Subscribe.
Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you next week. Bye. It's okay. It's okay. It'll be okay.
Oh, trivia. We finally get introduced to a Song of Ice and Fire song that Bronn was singing. It's a song called The Dornishman's Wife, which is famous in the books, but in the show they've only basically shown us 2 songs that people either sing The Bear and the Maiden Fair or The Rains of Castamere, and that's all anyone seems to know. But no! Now we have the Nornishman's wife, although we still don't know how it ends. And supposedly, well, that's the kicker. Maybe... Oh no! Bronn's final words are the final lines to the Dornishman's wife.
They would totally do that to us.
They would do that to us! God, why did I even suggest that to myself?
You jinxed it, Kenny. You jinxed it. It's gonna happen.